It all started because I went to the theatre, even though I didn't know what was on. And it was Matthew Bourne's production of Cinderella, and I got really excited because I had never been to the ballet before, but also I got a bit nervous because I'd never been to the ballet before. I'd never seen a show of Cinderella either, except for one time at the pantomime. But this wasn't a pantomime because Matthew Bourne doesn't put on pantomimes, and besides, there aren't any pantomimes in June. This Cinderella was a bit different because it was set during the Blitz, and normally in Cinderella, there's just a stepmother and two stepsisters. But in this Matthew Bourne Blitz ballet, Cinderella had a whole stepfamily. One of them was a stepbrother, and the blackboard in the foyer said that his name was Malcolm. People don't really have names in the ballet, because there's no talking. It's like when people are quiet in the audience, but in the ballet, the quiet is on the stage as well. There's only music. But Matthew Bourne named him Malcolm anyway, because he's committed to something called attention to detail. When I see a play, I always fancy one of the boys in it. Like when I was 15 and I went to see Wicked with my mum in Plymouth, and Fiero was wearing really tight trousers. Well, I really fancied Malcolm, even in his loose 1940s style trousers. He was the fourth person to come on at the beginning, and I fancied him immediately, which was really helpful because in the ballet there is sometimes so much going on stage that you don't know where to look, especially when it's your first time. But I knew exactly where to look, and that was at Malcolm. He was beautiful. He was really beautiful. He was like a beautiful bird. He was just about the loveliest thing I'd ever seen. Then I realised that Malcolm liked boys. Malcolm was gay. Matthew Bourne is known for putting gay things into his ballets because he's committed to something called being gay. I was so shocked and happy that I gasped, and I think I grabbed my own leg. You're meant to grab someone else's leg for steadiness when you're shocked, and if somebody had been with me I'd probably have grabbed their leg. But I'd gone on my own, and the woman sat next to me was quite old and probably didn't want me to grab her leg, so I didn't. Malcolm was so gay that he had his own gay subplot, where his family try to send him to the ball with a girl, and it's really awkward, but then when they get to the ball, Malcolm meets a handsome RAF officer, and they dance together, and they fall in love. I don't even know if everybody else in the audience even saw this happening. It was sort of happening in the background. But I saw it. And when the curtain came down, and the ballet ended, I realised I was in love with Malcolm, with his story, and with the ballet. And then I realised that the man sat in front of me was the actual real-life Matthew Bourne, and he was taking notes about what was wrong with the performance, which was strange to me because there was nothing wrong with the performance. It was perfect. So I spoke to him and I said, "Excuse me, are you Matthew Bourne?" And he said, "Yes, I am," and I think a bit of a wee came out because it was so exciting. But I had to stay calm and respectful because he's very famous and successful and he probably hates it when fans blither, so I had to make sure that I didn't blither. But I told him how much I had loved his ballet and that it was my first time, and he said thank you, and he was very nice and polite and friendly, and he said, "Make sure that you come again." So I did. I came back every night for the next 3 nights, which was every night until Cinderella left and went to another theatre in another city. Really, I came back to see Malcolm, and every night he was there for me. It was like seeing a beautiful stranger on a bus. The sort of stranger that looks like someone that you could really love one day, but knowing that if you came back at the same time tomorrow, they'd be on the same bus. I was watching him and the officer when they are on stage together, but what I really saw each night was him and me. Him and me. Perhaps a little older than we were, but very much in love and with nothing in the way. I saw us in Paris, in a box at the opera. The orchestra was tuning up. Then we were in Venice, drifting along the Grand Canal in a gondola, with the sound of mandolins coming to us over the water. I saw us travelling far away together, all the places I've always longed to go. I saw us leaning on the rail of a ship, looking at the sea and the stars, standing on a tropical beach in the moonlight, with the palm trees sighing above us. And each night the curtain came down. The ballet ended, and all the silly dreams disappeared. Perhaps the most important thing about Malcolm is that he isn't real, but the person who plays him is real. I found his name in the programme, and I found him on Instagram. His name's Jackson, and he's from Australia, but he lives in London now. I should have gone to the stage door to see him, like when Matthew Bourne went to the stage door to meet Fred Astaire or Elizabeth Taylor when he was my age. But I didn't, because I was too nervous, and I really didn't want to blither in front of Jackson or scare him with my probably terrifying enthusiasm. Or worse, he might have brushed me aside somehow. So I decided to message him on Instagram, and I told him how much his performance and character had meant to me, and then I sent a photograph of a drawing that I had done as soon as I'd got home from the ballet. And he spoke back to me, and he was very sweet and kind, and he told me to keep drawing. Then he posted my drawing on his Instagram, and loads of people liked it, and I felt so special, because I had spent 3 nights of my life noticing him, and all of a sudden, it felt like he was noticing me. It was like being taken backstage, and I wanted to cry because it was like I existed on the other side of the curtain, in the place where the magic happens, where people like Malcolm and Cinderella have their lives transformed, and their dreams come true. There was a bit in the ballet where Cinderella was holding and dancing with a mannequin, projecting her desires onto it, and pretending it was a real person. And I think that's what I'm doing. I'm projecting my desires onto Jackson, or maybe Malcolm, or both of them, or the versions of them that exist in my head. Well, I don't really know who that person is, but I want to place him on a pedestal of gold and see the world worship the boy that is mine. And I probably do this because wanting things is really hard for me sometimes, and wanting somebody is especially hard. So I convince myself that thinking about somebody like Malcolm or Jackson is a good idea, because it's a safe way to think about falling in love with somebody. Because when I've begun to like someone in real life, they have never properly liked me back, and if they have, it's only been slightly, for a bit. And then I have to pass them on Middle Meadow Walk, and we don't talk to each other, and it's really awkward, because even though I'm normally really friendly and socially confident, boys that I've liked or been with make me feel foolish, and my ego drops down to where my ankles are. Or even worse, I see them with their boyfriends, and they told me that they think that I'm nice, but that they don't want a boyfriend. And then 3 weeks later they have a boyfriend, and he looks like everything that I'm not. And then I know that they were just trying to be kind, because really they just didn't want me to be their boyfriend. And then I know that it's not them, it's me, and I can't hide from it. And I know it sounds like I want validation or a relationship to define my life in some way, but really I think I've just exhausted being on my own, and I'm ready for that other thing. Look at my nails. Look at my dress. People would laugh at me. Nevertheless, I still wish to go to the festival and dance before the prince.
Why are you so upset?